Alright, hey everybody, it's AntagonistKim, and we're back in Disco Elysium. So, um, we decided to go to bed, and we had our dream, who I thought, like, in maybe our dream or after we woke up, right, that we'd, like, talk to Kim or internalize some stuff with Kim, but apparently we met up with our ex in the form of Dolores Day, had a pretty crappy talking to, of internalizing life and stuff in general. Anyway, it was pretty horrific. I'm hoping Harry moves on from this. She's officially left the station, and we can maybe move on from all this.
This old cylindrical generator waits with its fuel cap open. Makeshift electrical wiring runs out of its side and across the floor.
I mean, let's try it. Pour fuel into the tank.
The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch.
Pull the rope.
The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
Okay.
A dim golden glow animates the console. Faint, like a ghost light. Urgence ouvert reads one dial key. Allumer reads another.
It's on. Turn emergency open.
Automatic boot. The dial slides under the dusty glass, dark and silent, despite the power being on. You make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, failed insula, are written on the band. An idea lights up in your head.
I mean, that'd be crazy if we hadn't had the... I didn't even see that option.
You're not a circuit bender. The lighting in the room turns on with a sizzle, a dim ambient orange.
We might as well do that. And then emergency open.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
It's taking its time, huh?
After you.
Before, outside when we were walking across the sand, I felt someone watching me.
So did I. Not back there, but I felt it since we came here.
What's there?
I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up, then dies down again.
What if we get into another fight?
Don't worry. I have a gun.
He takes out his sidearm, checks the barrel, and holsters it again. I have a gun too.
I know. It was not easy to acquire.
Let's go. Thanks for getting my gun back, by the way. That's pretty awesome of you, buddy. Okay. Let's do this. Anything up in here we gotta worry about? No? Alright, I guess we're going through this. Okay, holy cow. Alright, let's look around. Oh, this grass is kind of nice. Ooh, there is a bro over there. Oh, shit. Small white flowers blossom all around you. Okay. It's a rubber dinghy. It's deflated, broken. Like a little island over there. Is that the other side of the insulin? D? It is, right? Okay, hold on. Is there anything else we can muck about in? Or are we just talking to this old dude? Who I am assuming is our guy. I mean, he's the only dude here. Oh shit, I don't even recognize this character. Who are you?
An old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth. then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp.
Alright, sorry guys, we got Buster downstairs. Oh yeah, here we go. So I'll read through what we have here before we choose. Are you the fire guy, unquote? You've retained your eyesight. Did you close the blast door? Nice gun you have there. Sir, I need you to put down the gun and not talk further. We're with the police. I'm with the police. You can keep your gun, but keep it down. Not one move. I'm sorry for disturbing you. Goodbye. I mean, this is obviously our guy, right? Are you the fire guy?
The what now? I can't hear you.
Did you recently tell 2 young kids to put out their fire? 2 twins?
I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up.
You've retained your eyesight, I see.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
So did you close the blast door?
I did. And you opened it. How?
I fueled the generator, then used the console.
I should have burned that console down.
He shakes his head. How did you know I was coming?
Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
Oh. Because we played music in the boat, I forgot we did that. But you didn't say that, Kim. It's not rock and roll, it's sad FM. It was not reactionary, it was cool. Listen, it's not rock and roll, it's called sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness. A weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate. Hip gyrating, mental illness music.
Alright, so this guy's definitely political, bro. Nice gun you got there.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done.
Is that a Belle McGrave?
It's a 3-Angong 446.
Southeast Samaran made. Exotic. Must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
He pats the rifle.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
The Sinyao commune?
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk wiped from the board.
His gaze turns inwards. Your weapon has stayed true to you. Mine has stayed true to me. Pat your hand on your bolt.
Yes. I bet you've killed a lot of people with it. You fascist fuck. Have you come to make me one of them?
His grip on the rifle tightens.
We have come to ask you questions. Nothing more.
The lieutenant puts his hand on his holster.
If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
Another spitfall lands in the fire. That's all he gives as an answer. So here's the thing, though. Can we assume that this rifle he has actually made that distance? So is this guy not even our dude? I don't even know. Hold on. Sir, I need you to put the gun down so we can talk further. We're with the police. And with the police, you can keep the gun, but please keep it down. Not one move. Let's be a little more cautious. You need to put the gun down, sir.
The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
Sorry, guys.
His elbows rest on the frame stock, calmly for now, but he may still get it in his hands. Looks like he knows the weapon.
Let's go for it. I am an enemy commander of rank. Put it down.
The words, "I am an enemy commander," sound cold as iron from your lungs. The old man still hugs his gun.
And what rank would that be, dog?
Lieutenant W. Fritter.
A big wheel of the 4th Regiment of the Pederast Army. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
The old man lays the rifle down carelessly, then stares at it just lying there.
Like an amputated limb in the sand. He stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness, like a song.
What did you say?
The future teaches you to be alone.
The present.
The present.
The present to be afraid and cold.
The old man pulls back the hood of his plastic cape and looks up into the sky. It's gray-blue, the same color as the sea. Those words, "the future teaches you," pick up the gun lying in the sand. Who are you? What have you been using this gun for? Those words, "the future teaches you."
Real music. Real prolet cult. That's La Revacholière, not your rock and roll misanthropy. Chanson de soldat of the black and whites.
You need to address that remark.
I'm not, misanthropy. I'm a half-dead police officer who's just doing his job.
The job of a shitlicker.
What is revolutionary? Well, I think we know that. Understood.
You don't understand anything.
The old man squints at you. You see two black bleeds gleaming. Pick up the gun in the sand.
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire.
Inspect it closer.
The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangon, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
It's as he said.
Worn. Personalized even. Looks like this weapon has seen a lot of use, hasn't it, sir?
No response from the old man. The plastic cape around his shoulders rustles in a small bout of wind.
This uses jacketed ammunition?
Jacketed. Military-grade ammunition. Stable in flight. Good for hitting something that's very, very far away.
Oh. So see, I was about to say, I thought like a rifle wouldn't be able to hit that far, but I guess so. Stow the gun.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response? Something is slightly off with his motorics. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession. In time.
Alright, so who exactly are you, deserter?
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol.
Isov.
I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
His eyes turn to the reeds again, dead and dull.
The Commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in 07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in 08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the Commune had fallen. Still armed, and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
So you've been on this island for 43 years?
No. I've been on other islands, too.
He looks into the fire. A wisp of smoke rises from somewhere between the charred logs.
I was in Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago.
Again, so you've been hiding for 43 years?
43 years and 10 months.
I don't even know what that is. That's steadfast, that's insane.
It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He grimaces, clearly in pain.
He just couldn't.
You couldn't give up?
He nods. But he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
He looks across the water.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. 2 police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Mayer inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic.
Oh, this is the Jean guy is the one that was in the, with the long blonde hair and the shades, I think, and a hat.
Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting.
The old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. For what?
For her to return.
Her who?
Girl, child, revolution.
Okay, I came from there. I can assure you that is not what the people are planning. I've been there. The city's a tinderbox. It may still happen. I've seen it. Capital is too powerful. The rich are very well organized. Women will always betray you. I came from there. I can assure you that it is not what the people are planning.
I am not a fool. I know. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
Alright, now you said you deserted your unit?
I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too.
A lapse of faith?
You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took.
For what?
For reaction to take hold.
What's reaction? It wasn't a reaction, you were just afraid? Maybe he has a different definition for reaction. I'm just curious. What's reaction?
Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
So reaction is that you were actually afraid.
It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
It remains unclear what it is. He makes leaps he doesn't expect you to follow.
And this was when?
Lieutenant instinctively looks into the notebook but does not take it out. Oh, he instinctively looks to his notebook but does not take it out.
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky and it looked like it formed the clouds, storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic.
Dark magic?
The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower.
He gestures towards it.
Huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
He looks east.
A terrible shame still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
Right, so you obviously did not go to the mat room.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
Sorry. He looks to the sky. And what was that?
Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too. Shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
He opens his eyes and stares right through you. What did you see exactly?
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love, all the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know.
He's silent for a second. What do we know?
That the bourgeois are not human.
Okay, so I kind of see where he's coming from, because, I mean, also, greatly voice acted, by the way. But he's, as far as I'm understanding, because bourgeoisie is, like, the very elite, powerful people, right? He's pretty much saying the elite, with their money and their greed, use that to take advantage of people, start wars, to benefit their pocket. And he's just upset that it had to come to that in the first place for him to feel like he had to leave, right? That he had to desert his friends and all that. So, you've lost your mind. I've always suspected the same. That's definitely enough now. Say nothing, let him finish. What does let him finish?
I had to. I had to fight it. I had to never stop.
The old man falls silent. His black eyes keep piercing your skin as he looks at some great distance behind you, shaking his head slowly, retreating from it. So what is this place, this island you're on?
It's not an island, Dwight. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender.
Right, and what was it used for?
The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, Retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world.
You mean the landing retaking of Revachol?
Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it...
He winces.
Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone.
First of all, I'm not one of them. Coalition military, someone who's come to end this madness. Murderers, I know what you mean. Tell me something else. I mean, technically we do our government officials, so I guess in theory we, at least for a lot of people, work underneath the elite, right? A lot of people think that, you know, government jobs is equatable to being, you know, associated with that. I mean, I don't want to say we are one of them. Does it sound like coalition military, someone who's come to end this madness? Murderers, I know what you mean. I mean, I don't agree with war. I'm not sure if Harry necessarily feels the same, but... Coalition military. We'll just affirm what he's thinking.
Iblis.
Iblis?
The black-eyed angel.
He nods.
Shaitan Ahura, the darkened one.
Okay, how have you survived all this time?
How does anyone survive? I steal.
Now hold on there.
That's a choice. You could have become self-employed and created a system. Hold on. We won't put him down on that. What did you steal exactly?
Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
He coughs once more, then puts his hand on his belly.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
Oh man, this guy's not far from death here.
He does seem frail. Good for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
TRCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
We have other opioid-based painkillers. You must be in pain. This is a serious situation. You need to be looked over, and we can do it. How have you coped mentally? I mean, this is kind of serious. We should really... We could give him the pain meds, but... We should really take you in to keep you looked over. I mean, we're going to take you in anyway.
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund.
How have you mentally coped?
I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of...
His eyes roll back into his skull and back.
I don't even know what. Inferno?
You notice the lieutenant about to say something?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
He looks down at his shoes, his face parched with sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere. So, how have you concealed yourself all these years?
It was hard in the tens. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Coal City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead.
So how did you get between here and the mainland?
At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
You know what's funny is it's interesting that he says underground, because there was a point very early in game where we walked next to like a sewer tunnel, and our character noticed that something was in there, but it wouldn't let us open it or interact with it. I wonder if that was him.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted.
He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the shacks huddled together across the water. So why didn't you just walk there? The weapons cache under St. Ghislaine 22B in the basement, have you been there? There's a small bunker under the Feld building, have you stayed there? One more question, do you smoke Tumatry? So why didn't you just walk there?
I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
Right, and that weapon cache underneath the commercial building in the basement, have you been there?
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Belma graves, right?
They were damaged beyond use.
I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
Right, and in a small bunker under the Feld building, you stayed there as well?
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys.
Killed themselves?
A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
He stared at the Feld building. One more question. Do you happen to smoke these type of cigarettes?
I do.
Did you ever smoke them on the mainland?
They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
Can you tell me another thing?
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You said this is your termless surrender?
You're with the RCM. The coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. A so-called Lieutenant W. Freighter.
We're not coalition appointed, we just try to help people. That's right, we're with the good guys. We enforce the law, we keep these animals from killing each other. I know what it looks like, but I have a secret plan to turn the RCM into Mazovian Revolutionary Unit. Listen, we're with the RCM, let's just leave it at that.
Let's. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste dans le Monde. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
Alright, his hand shakes and he breaks into a coughing fit.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
The communards signed the Revacholian Instrument of Surrender.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
Yeah.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
Sorry, guys, you might hear Buster down there. Is that part of why you've been here all this time, because the party didn't surrender?
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
Understood.
I don't think you did. You live in a delusion. Radio shows, speed racing, and sporting goods. It's not real.
So you're a communist soldier from a communist army?
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army.
Which makes sense that he's kind of a deserter. I won't go to that. But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps.
Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
Right, so what does this commissaire do?
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the commune.
The lieutenant says softly.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology.
Right, so what you're saying is you're a trained communist.
He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
I'm a revolutionary too. Today, the real revolutionizing is done by entrepreneurs. I'm not really into politics myself. I don't know if I want to get into it with this dude. We'll say nothing right now. Alright, I have another serious question for you.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
It's always composure. What have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
He shakes his head and smiles, his teeth rotten black.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But
what?
This is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot.
He's our guy.
The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
So you're saying you killed people after active fighting stopped? Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Krenel? I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with a gun in the last 2 weeks?
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
Alright, so let's try it this way then. So you're saying you've killed people after active fighting stopped?
What did I just say?
Alright. He keeps shaking his head erratically. Suddenly he brushes something out of his eye.
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
Okay. Did you kill the Krenel security guy, yes or no?
The who now?
He leans in and cups his ear.
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
He heard you. He just wants you to say it again. He wants to hear you say it again, this dramatic flair. The corpse in a ceramic armor hanging behind the whirlwind in rags. Did you shoot him? The fascist death squad who took a bullet to the mouth on the night of March the 4th. His name was Ellis Courtenay, and he was a part of a security detail. A beautiful, strong man sent here by the Honorable Private Military Company Cronell. You know who I mean. He wants us to repeat it, right? His name was Ellis. He was a part of the security detail here in Martinez.
Oh, yes. That one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
He looks at the sky and clacks his tongue.
Did you kill him?
The lieutenant takes a sudden step forward.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession.
All right. What is this telling me?
The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
I don't need your cooperation. I've got this. Show him the weapon. We've done the ballistics. Point to the tower. The shot came from this island. Come on, what am I forgetting? Hit yourself on the side of the head. Let's start with the trajectory. We've done the ballistics. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession.
The lieutenant softens his voice.
You've been here a long time, Mr. Dras. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope.
One thing, where is the scope? How did you make the shot without a scope? We have everything else. You said fasci, so you're admitting to killing him? It's the best uninterrupted line of sight from the window of Martinez. The view's perfect with a pair of binoculars I could have seen in the room. One thing, where's the scope?
Forget about your stupid fucking scope. I don't know where it is. Find it yourself. It's your problem now.
He lost it. He just doesn't know where it is. Forget it. Push on.
So you said fascies, you're admitting to killing him.
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad.
He waves his hand, there's a twitch, and then one more on his right eye.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
Listen, I need your cooperation. I mean, we've got your murder weapon right here.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those. Jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
The lieutenant looks at the weapon demonstratively. I'm calling it that we have the murder weapon. I mean, we kind of made a point that it would have made the shot.
Good.
Lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He glances into the reeds and then twitches more. We have 4 points. I mean, should we use some of these up? We can't pass the composure test, but let's maybe, I'm trying to think about what would be good in this particular situation. Let's add one more to perception.
Like a marionette on some invisible string. This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more.
Alright, what am I forgetting here?
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh, yes.
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here, and Maybells on Clausia's balcony. And nowhere else. Nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them.
Good thing we perceive those white flowers then.
Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up.
Of course, thank you. Alright.
You got it. Remember? The boot prints were like no modern soul.
Right, like older boots, like his military boots. Maybells behind the victim's window, I saw them growing here.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them. So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
Listen, I haven't seen any other flowers around here, or only here.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilized them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
The lieutenant's voice is soft and friendly.
I may.
A curious tremor passes over his face. Hey, a young woman called Claudia rings any bells? Claudia, ring any bells? Flowers like these were behind her window.
Claudia.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
Yes, Claudia. You hadn't heard her name, had you? You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent, then the muscles in his jaws twitch a spasm.
There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. A crooked smile. Yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
What brand of boots are you wearing?
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
He looks at the running shoes covered in mud.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Doras.
Fucking imbecile.
The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn-out running shoe on his foot.
The maker is called Sansarique, and the size is 42 to 44. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
Wait, maybe it's simpler than that?
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
Right, people change shoes. It doesn't mean you weren't there, near the room where the victim died in, sneaking around.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
He squints at you, black pearls gleaming with hatred.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer, armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer, dripping with blood.
I get it. Listen, he was a killer, but he was still under the protection of the law. I mean, you shouldn't just go around killing people. That's what I'm assuming this statement's trying to say. I guess we're gonna go moral intern. I mean, he was technically a person. He was a man, right? Damn, this is hard. Let's go with 2. He was a killer, but he was still under the protection of the law.
Beating us to the ground, moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
He breathes through flared nostrils.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Right, so you shot him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble with anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
Just nod.
I had them in my sights, both of them, him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
He begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
Smile quivers. Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks for a second of silence.
Yes.
A single word is all he gives you.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly, very slowly.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
He shrugs and smacks his lips.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Right, why were you looking at them that night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes on his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle's scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
You pull the trigger.
Yes.
He looks
Think of it as a form of critique.
Right, he looks at you in the eye.
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. Exploit it. You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
What specifically did you not like about what you saw that night of the murder?
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that.
So you were jealous?
Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore.
For him to stop reacting to stimuli, to be broken off from the world, cordoned into darkness.
And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
This man has seen past her, like you did. And now he longs to see her covered in blood. To punish her.
How long had you been watching?
Since she came to Martinez. I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
What do you think she hid there?
Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
Right, so there was that hidden buoy she told us about. You looked into it?
After she was gone.
He nods.
Did you keep what was in it? When we found the submersible, it was empty.
No. Why would I do that? I didn't need tickets to Villiers. I put them back. If I wanted to extort someone, I'd do better.
This implies that he's thought about extorting her. Also, a little inconsistency here. He was surprised to hear her name Clausia before. Would he not have seen it on the documents?
I mean, you saw her name on the passport, but before, when I said her name, you didn't seem to recognize it.
It didn't say Clausia in there.
Right. So what did her passport say?
It was something. I don't remember. It was dark that morning. I only remember her face on the photo.
Right. Did you continue watching her after this?
I did. She had a face like an archipelago with those birthmarks. And a body hard and lean and bruised all over. Black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook. On the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook? From the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises, you can't make that out in a scope.
And you could see her bruises through the scope of the rifle?
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
So then how does he know those minute details about her body?
It quickly comes to you.
The bruises on her body, any chance you've seen through them in a hole in the wall?
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Did you make that hole?
with a clip-point knife.
Okay, we got it out of him.
Good for listening in, too. For hearing the moaning and the snorts.
Ever see her through the window of the roof?
Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass.
You've been through that secret route behind the whirling rags? Those were your footprints, right? You just changed your shoes?
I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny.
And that too?
Yes, that too.
He shakes his...
things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
He keeps shaking his head. Hold on, guys.
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
Alright, we got this, guys.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
He points towards the whirling and rags.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
You wanted to punish her, so you killed him? Did you have feelings for her? So, in conclusion, it wasn't about him, it was about her? I mean, I think that's probably pretty obvious, right? So, in conclusion, it wasn't about him, it was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes and the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away. We don't know where she is. She got away, but she let us here first. She figured out someone was watching her from the seafront. I'm not at liberty to say.
I know she's gone. Locked up, or on the run. She kept staring into the scope, you know. In the end, this last week, at the fort. Like she knew. Like she knew I was here. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol, snow falls on 40-story towers. Above them, Elysium Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the snowy sky by a web of suspension wiring, encircled by hybrid aircraft.
Look north.
On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghosts of the city she's leaving, for another, far south. Smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Streetlights, towers, tenements, and water, and across it a dark strip of ruins, barely visible if she didn't squint her eyes.
I think we're nearing the end here.
There, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, 2 police officers and 1 special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea. The ruins of a sea fort stick out of the water, built by Philippe II, reappropriated by the Commune, then lost in the landing.
Right, so we're assuming that Harry probably, or Kim, organized that we needed to have backup here with the thought that we're going to have him arrested, right? He's our guy.
He's there, doing what exactly, I don't know. Satellite Officer Vic Mayer points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Heidelstein is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. I know this interesting little place. Where? His voice trails off as the three walk down the jetty. As the men go, Patrol Officer Minnow looks back over her shoulder at the crumbling fortification in the snowfall, like a rotten tooth rising out of the water.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? You could get more out of him. He likes talking.
Been looking at anything else you haven't liked lately?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put, put, put of hatred.
Right, more specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
He shakes his head in grave disgust. How come?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries.
He points inland.
Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it.
Right, you mean Everard Clare?
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
Alright, let's just let him finish this.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
He keeps shaking his head with sorrow at the sight of the mist. The sight he missed, nod.
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Quayamoran, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children.
Right.
That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead.
Is he saying that Joyce is not alive? Hold on. One more question about this.
We did good when we pushed him under the horse car. Until, in the 30s, those disco whores.
Damn, he breathes in heavy, with a heavy breath of hatred. He cannot make out a single word.
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people. Might be worth investigating. Ask about that cock on parade too. Make sure you get everything here.
Oh boy, okay. Do we want to go into all this? kind of more interested in this one. You mentioned the Union social democratic and Mr. Clare a farce of a social democrat.
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the Union's top brass.
You mean Everett Clare?
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Oh, his brother?
Edgar.
You mean Edgar?
He talks a big game about uprising and social base. They must have sent the smart one to some university in Le Jardin, where it's alienation this and hegemony that.
So you've spoken to Edgar?
First against the wall with him.
He stopped poking at the ashes now, and just shakes his head.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to.
Interesting. So we're speculating that Droz could have been hired by the Clares. So, did you kill the mercenary and to incite the riot?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
So he did then.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
He coughs.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them, but he's insinuating something.
Let's see, so what was the deal between him and Edgar?
The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water.
Right, so 20 years ago when you met Edgar, the Clares didn't run the Union yet, did they?
Hey.
The old man sputters.
He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
Who did then?
That bourgeois cow. Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker.
Right. She was also a woman, wasn't she? Like Cloget?
She was. And she was real soft on those money men. Had a Barbara Muscova bag over her shoulder that she liked to bring to work.
Right, so then she just, like, disappeared?
Called in, they say. On the eve of battle. Ran away. Vanished like a piss stain.
He squints and smiles at the black logs.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No, I guess it was not.
You could swear to see the embers glow again under his eyes on the dust. Edgar had someone make the call. Why is that, Mr. Droz?
She couldn't make the call herself.
Here it is. The bend in the river.
Why?
Because she was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Just say nothing.
The cow caught a bullet in her right lung. Fell into the canal grasping her tit and drowned. Or bled. Hard to say. It was a sloppy job. And a moving target. She was going home. Waddling. Dressed in yellow. Drunk like she often was. The ruins are black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal. Heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her. And the ruins.
Right, so you shot her then.
Someone shot her. Or maybe the cow just fell. My memory is full of holes. All I know is nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal.
Huh.
If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk.
The lieutenant says in a voice even calmer, as if it were nothing at all.
We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
A degenerate worker state? Goat shit. No, thank you. I'm Revacholian. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything.
Okay then, well. But you did do it though.
I saw it happen, and I liked it. That's all I have to say. I didn't live and fight for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 AM, Radio Revachol, late night. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled.
He looks to the city. What's it giving us now? Nothing. Sorry.
There is plenty here to work with once he's in custody, and the lieutenant knows it. He gives you a little nod to proceed.
We know he's talking about Renee there. I think I'm good. Listen, I'm glad we talked about this now.
Glad? It's all gone.
Alright, listen. We're not going to pass that, so, Esop Droz, you're under arrest for the murder of Alice Courtney.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
The sum of all the erratic movements, fidgeting, and mood swings he's been exhibiting. The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But...
Listen, Kim, I think he's afraid.
No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He looks at the reeds, eyes submerged in growing terror.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
First say, does it have room for 3? What is this for? Perception? Shit. Hold on. Let's just add both.
There it is again, to your north, as it has been since you came to the coast. The reeds whisper, stalks rubbing against each other, but then, in the middle of it, something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn against the strings of a violin. A very small violin, made of reeds and rushes.
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat.
Hold on, Kim, do you hear that?
What?
What are you talking about? Is this... really us?
Your skin crawls.
What's going on? Hold on. Oh! Look at right here! Oh,
A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence.
Guys, it is the damn Phasmid. Holy shit. What is that?
What are you talking about?
The old man looks at the reeds and then at you. The giant stick insect.
There's nothing there.
He looks confused.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand move to your holster to grab the gun.
Hold on, but there is. I see it.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
I mean, come on, Kim. You can see it, right?
I can see it.
Oh, shit.
4 simple words, thank God. If you can see, then you're not insane.
I was about to say, it better not just be me here.
But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence. Its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
What does this mean? The lieutenant whispers and takes a step toward the giant arthropod. Holy shit, guys. I can't believe I'm saying this, but guys, I know we went really long into this, but I think I'm going to end the episode so we can look at this Phasmid and I guess finish arresting Esau here?